when we're looking at these sorts of things, and then we can go back even further.
In fact, that's what I want to do because I suspect that the reason why you went directly to West Africa is that's generally where most of African Americans originated from via the European enslavement.
Absolutely.
But as a Pan-Africanist, I identify with Black people, period. And I know that we go back much further than even the Songhai, Mali, and Ghana civilizations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Want to touch on some of that?
Yeah, so if we move to other parts of Africa, the history of civilization goes back even further. So if we go back to some parts of Africa, such as the Nile Valley, you've got places like Ethiopia. I was in Ethiopia in December. I was at the Addis Ababa Museum, and they had a wall display of a particular monument, which they believed to be either a palace or an administrative building. The archaeologists excavated it, found that it goes back to 800 BC, and they believe it was a minimum of a 4-story building. So I posted that on my chat room, and then somebody else came back to say that, well, actually, the Germans have done a reconstruction of it. And the German reconstruction shows that it wasn't more than 4 stories, it was 8 stories.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is 800 BC. It's in the city of Yeha in, well, on a modern map, it would be the kind of Ethiopia, Eritrea type of region. All right, now, elsewhere in the Nile Valley, we then look at places like Sudan, places like Egypt. And Sudan today is a semi-Arab country. Egypt today is an Arab country. But when we go back to these kinds of time periods, the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Sudanese used to be Black people. And then with these civilizations, we can go back thousands and thousands of years to the beginnings of history. And before there's history, there's what the scholars call prehistory. Prehistory is before there's documents. And before there's documents, there's evidence of cotton use in Sudan, 5000 BC. We can go back further, evidence of animal husbandry, the first cattle rearing in the world. In Kenya, we're going back something like 15,000 years. We can go back to the very first fishing hooks that have been found, going back 89,000 years. The first mines in southern Africa, in what is today Eswatini, Swaziland, mines going back 43,000 years. And this is important, you see, because a lot of us were told the reason why the Europeans have to stay in power in South Africa is to keep the Blacks down so that European technology could be used to extract the mineral wealth of Southern Africa, because all that mineral wealth was there and Africans were too stupid to do it. That's what we were told. The reality is those same Southern Africans were the inventors of mining 43,000 years ago. There wasn't a single European on the planet 43,000 years ago. And so this is why it's very, very important for us to get a sense of history, because it changes how we look at the world, and it changes how we look at ourselves.